Well, and there's a wood shop. I was listening to my online class. She's good. I don't know. Yeah, because I usually, when I go to New England, I don't she said, like, we do. I've never been to like kind of the middle of it. And they didn't have a from there. What's the difference between? Oh, I don't know why. Nice. This one. Good. That's not very expensive. I don't
Yeah. Yeah. Hi. Nice to meet you. This is my husband, Jared. Jared, nice to meet you. Welcome to my
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you get your stuff? We did. Yeah, we had tea last week. Okay. We have met. Yes, we have met. I'm trying to catch both of you. Good. So here we are. Fix the door. Yeah, just like with like a cartoon. Like yeah, I were meant to come over for a cup of tea, and like 20 minutes before she's like, I'm canceling. I can't get it. I was like, I was like, all right, whatever. Like, if I can help, let me know. But like, that sounds important. Yeah. But also, yeah, the door handles back. All right, cool. I did not need it, but if you take one for a look. Oh my gosh. Actually, I'm just gonna sit by you. If you're all right.
This is you want to sit there?
You can sit right here if you want.
There's a person down the shore, and then there's like a. Yeah, we said that Tuesday. He's nervous. Apparently you situation and go out and eat. Yeah, and the other funny thing was basically. Oh, I know. I was later on when I was listening to. Yeah, you weren't joking. I leave it at the it's correct. Yeah. Oh, no, we don't.
Yeah. She just happened to know. No, yeah, I know. Thank you.
Oh, there. Oh, there.
Yeah, are you, I'm ready, I'm playing. Otherwise you're gonna be on. Oh, yeah. They don't.
Okay.
Do you want to put it in here, but while we're not reading, or do you want to? I don't know. They're here. Okay.
You don't mind that I left it?
I did. I might read a poem or two, but okay. So the order is Juan, Elizabeth, Rebecca, Felicia. Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is Poets of Two Shores, a poetic bridge across the Hudson River. Thank you for joining us. We also have a Zoom cohort, so we'll be trying to look over at the webcam readers every now and then to acknowledge their presence. I'm Melissa Joplin Higley, the Poet Laureate of Mamaroneck, and with me is Juan Pablo Mobili, who is the co-founder and co-creator of this project, and also the Poet Laureate of Rockland County, and you will hear more from him later. Before we start, I want to thank Mamaroneck Public Library for their wonderful support of this series, Ursula Heinrich and Pat D'Ambrosio, who helped us with a little bit of food and refreshments and the Zoom. Back in February, Juan invited me to create and develop this series with him, and I'm so glad that he did. Our goal is to create opportunities for poets living and working on opposite sides of the Hudson River so that we can connect and interact with each other Often we just kind of stay in our own camps, and it's really lovely to cross the river and connect. Our mission is to build artistic communities, support regional poets, and reach new audiences. As of now, the series includes 7 libraries across Westchester and Rockland counties and hosts a total of 32 poets. So we're pretty excited about that. This is our 3rd reading in the series, and we are thrilled with the response so far, including today. This is a wonderful audience. Our format is a 1-hour reading, and then we will have a 30-minute Q&A following between the audience and the readers. Our featured poets are Juan Pablo Mobili, Elizabeth O'Rourke, Rebecca Watkins, and Felicia Villanueva. I will now introduce our first reader. Juan Pablo Mobili was born in Buenos Aires and adopted by New York. Yes, Juan.
That was my son.
That's his son. In January of 2025, he became Poet Laureate of Rockland County. His poems have appeared in Tupelo Quarterly, Louisville Review, and Hanging Loose Press, among others, as well as publications in Europe, Asia, Latin America, and Australia. He received multiple Pushcart nominations, and his chapbook, Contraband, was published in 2022 and is available for purchase after the reading. Please help me welcome Juan.
Now in the news, some of my molecules are still bidding farewell, while the new recruits rushing to take over. I noted on my calendar those dates impossible to ignore, joy and grief deserving their own particular confetti, falling on our hair, easy to brush off because it's light, harder to forget because of their stubbornness. All right, now I'll say hello. Hi. Thank you. So I'll be reading some poems from the book. I decided to go back to some of the greatest hits, only to me, and some poems that are more recent, okay? Which some are in the book that I'm trying to get published, hopefully, when somebody's kind enough to accept my orphans, you know. Okay, so let me start with this. Victoria, to my grandmother Victoria and her victory. My grandmother belonged to the tribe that wanted peace. My brother and I wanted war. We stalked the magnolia, hunted the lemon tree. The only thing that was abrupt about her was her silence, a precipice from which our loud talk jumped off to its death. She knew that patience won sieges, so she seeded green grapes, peeled them with her fingernails, cut them in halves, and set the bowl at the main gate to appease the barbarians. Okay, this is more recent. After midnight, our kitchen was a busy scene. My father up, dunking what was left of a stale baguette in a glass of cold milk. I coming home from discussing the responsibilities of poetry in a troubled country like ours. And my mother, who would join us, half asleep, lighting up a cigarette, worry about my brother's whereabouts. While other families slept, mine thought loudly about our wishes, coins we cast down a deep well, hoping we heard a distant splash. This is my idea of 2 summer poems, since it's summer. This is from my book too. Warm breezes. I trust thunderstorms more than warm breezes. There is something forthright about their roar. I appreciate their honesty, being warned of what's to come. Summer breezes are a different story entirely. They come with sphinx-like smiles, the type a dictator might offer you, a kind of friendly that precedes a trip to the gallows, or a Ford Falcon without plates parked outside your house, lulling you to think it will be an ordinary day until your best friend's aunt calls you and in a clear and secret code tells you your friend went out for a ride with some people we never met before. And that's when you wish you were a firefly. When dusk turns to full dark and your message flickers unequivocally. But what happened to my friend happened when it was bright. They came with their glass jars, lids removed, setting a perimeter around the yard. When it was bright, and the fireflies were speechless. This is dedicated to the young men that applauded first. My son Sergio. Summer music. The breeze this summer is more austerely rationed than wartime bread. Thank God for the cricket's generosity, filling the stale air with music. July has been uncertain, filled with rumors of mortality, and August has not helped. And my wife carries the worrying for our son like a shroud. The porch is a church tonight as we respect the dark and choose to light no candles. We have been speaking without a single word as the sauce simmers, promising the solace of a meal prepared with volunteer tomatoes. And the music tonight comes from small creatures scraping their legs on their bellies like guitars. How am I doing? I'm doing okay, right? This is from the new book. This is, well, I think poems should tell you what they're about. I shouldn't have to introduce them. Coming to America. I took what I loved most and tried to leave behind whatever haunted me. The wound of a young man who lost a dear friend, victim of a country renouncing its remorse. I boarded the plane as breathless as a canary that fled the mine where it was caged, unaware I would be a foreigner forever. For years, the loveliest day remained that flight, the hum of the wind outside the window, the deliberate indifference of clouds. All right. Just three more, okay? Crossing the border. Unfortunately relevant today. I saved every passport that I was issued, shone at one border or another, wondering each time if the men who questioned my credentials longed to be guards since they were children. Airports are as harsh as purgatory. Immigrants in charge of sweeping the scorched feathers, and saints remaining silent, confusing complicity with holiness. After my passport is stamped, I walk on home soil, still a foreigner after decades of abiding, hiding my accent under my coat. And I'm gonna end up with one about my father and my mother, and as I promised my mother in the other world, hers are always long. Meeting with my father. There's a quote that inspired it. My daddy presiding over the crabs remains at the picnic table. It was a caption of somebody's picture on Facebook, and I thought, wow, I'm gonna write. I've seen my father often since he passed. It's frequently in the morning when I write and he peers over my verses having a smoke. Or when he taps my head lightly in a museum to nudge me along to a more important painter. Or when I find myself alone or lost or utterly bewildered and shrugging his shoulders, he seems to say, "Welcome to your existence." These days he does not write poems anymore, but he presides over the crop remains that gave their lives for families like ours to sit together at a picnic table. The way he gave his own life to language for his two sons, and the idea that decency really matters. And now I know she's been waiting quite patiently. So my mother, the only thing I wanted to say is two things. Taxis in Buenos Aires are yellow and black. And the first two lines are true, the rest is poetry. Very well. My mother passed away in the back of a Buenos Aires taxi. Her friend thought she was sleeping. My mother loved taxis. On buses, she was somber, circumspect like a locksmith. But in taxis, she would come alive. They were a luxury she let herself enjoy, delighting in the traffic, counseling the driver on joyous purpose. In the back seat, she would imagine what ease of means might be. Had she not chosen to be ashes scattered where my fathers were, the hearse would have been followed by a caravan of black and yellow cars. You would have seen old and young men driving without passengers in mourning for my mother. Trucks would not impose their size and cut anyone off for a change. And the lights would turn green as they approached each corner. I think she would have loved to know that they all came to pay respect, a line as long as a pedestrian's eye could see. Bus drivers would suddenly stop making fare change and bow their heads. At the eulogy, the priest would raise his hands and slowly say, "Farewell, beloved passenger. May the scent of vinyl that always brought you joy accompany you to heaven. Farewell." Thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Next up is Elizabeth O'Rourke. Her chapbook, Rewoven in the Dew, is forthcoming very soon. Yes, weeks.
Yeah.
From Kelsey Books. Please stay in touch with her so you can get a copy. She studied at Boston College and received an MFA from Sarah Lawrence College. She is the poetry teacher here at Mamaroneck Public Library and serves as the co-chair of the Village of Mamaroneck Arts Council. Much of her writing focuses on the sacredness and mysticism of her daily encounters with the world and what it asks of her. Please help me welcome Elizabeth.
Hello. Thank you, Juan, and thank you, Melissa. This is incredible to be gathered together like this. I'm going to start with a poem, one for each of my daughters who are here. The first poem is called Dianach. Dianach is a translation of the word in Irish. It's credited to Mansion Megan, and it is a word that means the cow, the lonesomeness of the cow bereft of her calf. So this is Dianach. The nurse took you for cleaning and measuring while I called, "May I have her back now?" Again and then again, because at once the waters we had lived in were gone, and now lands and hands between us, and I wanted everything touching. There were 12 hours of the scythe to your path and the teary crippling. I could not listen to songs with words. My legs were shifted by others. I forgot names of things, a blanket, cup, or screen. I opened every rib to find a breath. The morning pushed back the sheets and peeked through the window corners. It was the day you were born, alive and crying. Giannic, Irish, the lonesomeness of the cow bereft of her calf, my longing for you, hope, and now yours. We are stone written the way the rain always stops, the way the beach becomes wide again, the webs rewoven in the dew. And that last line is the title of my chapbook, Rewoven in the Dew. The second poem is a poem for my younger daughter. It's called How I Learned. There were things that went well. There was the simple, sweet act on the certain night that was the perfect marriage of matter. There was the correct hospitable temperature and the hopeful resting afterwards. There was the decided upon day to tell, the expected elation and prenatals nightly, again, the hopeful resting. There were the quiet murmurs and whirs of the ultrasound machine and the tiny spinning in the heart space. There was so much limeade in the thin pizza with ricotta and olives. There were the vials of deep maroon blood that came back from a lab, heralding the other things that were going well. Our RH factors were compatible. My HCG levels doubled appropriately. I didn't appear anemic. There was a lavender lotion Seamus rubbed into the soles of my feet each evening, and the muted thuds of the child's knees against my abdomen after mint ice cream in a mug. There was an undeniable love for the strangeness and familiarity of the child. There were the 10 or so minutes at the end of my yoga class when I could lie flat and put my hands on the child, tapping gently on what I assumed was the bottom or lower back. There were rosemary crackers and trips out for more limeade. There was a calm when I called my mother from the parking spot after the doctor explained about the mass in the child's lung. There was the way I got to the station for Seamus. There were still things inside the child that were going well. The heart continued its spinning, even as it was pushed out of place. The trachea remained unpinched and available for intubation. The other lung grew on and on. A straightforward amniocentesis showed the abnormal growth as an isolated phenomenon. We considered this a bright spot. There was the way Estanya, my favorite ultrasound technician, some weeks smiled tenderly and told me the mass wasn't measuring any larger. There was the way it rained almost every Friday that summer. So after we arrived home from the hospital, I could sleep well for an hour or two with a pillow between my knees and the window by our headboard open. There was the morning my older daughter, almost 3, and eating oatmeal said, "I miss the baby, Mum." And that went well because I knew exactly what she intended and I felt ready to. Thank you. I've been working on a series of poems about women in the Bible. All Bible stories are told by men about women. So I've tried to kind of reclaim some agency to women who have had things happen to them and lived during this time. And there's a story about Solomon, who is a wise king, and 2 women who resided in a brothel together both had a child, and one of the women lost her child. So they said, let's go to Solomon. He's going to know what to do. So Solomon said, let's divide this child in half and each woman will get half of the child, right? So the woman who is the biological mother of this child said, no, that not my child. Let the child, this is the child's mother for the other woman. And that was sort of the way that people thought, oh, well, Solomon knows, who's the biological mother and who the rightful caregiver should be. So I decided to write a poem from the point of view of the mother who lost her child and who was grasping on for something that she could feel at home with. And the French proverb in here that I allude to, or in the end, it's s'il y en a pour un, il y a pour deux, which means if there's enough for one, there's enough for 2. So typically used in hospitality, but in this case, we have a little bit of a different application. The wise decision. My body betrayed me. It was the exhaustion, the bones as stone, weary exhaustion. I had pushed and torn and wailed and bled, and his need was immediate and relentless. And trust me, I loved him. Him with his forehead wisps and perfect curved upper lip. Him with his hungry little squalls. I made his milk. I gave him his milk, day long, night long, day long. My body betrayed me. I was too tired. And in the part of the night only we knew, where we met and rocked, and I whispered to him that he was all sides of the world and the space around it as well. In that part, on that night, it was at once just me again, so soon. And when I say my body betrayed me, it betrayed him, who was me after all. I pulled him gently out from under me, already knowing, and swallowed my scream. I gave him his final salty rinse and must have put my feet on the clay and patted around, so tired, so slowly. And it must have been when I walked by that other room and heard that mewling, same wisps, same heft, blessed changeling. For as long as I remember, everything is taken from me, over and over, and now I am empty again. As I remember, I didn't have a word in any of it. I am so tired. My body betrayed me. If there is enough for one, there is enough for two, as is said. I have two more poems. This poem I was honored and lucky enough to have in the Westchester Review a few springs ago. It is sort of the elevation of the daily, and it's called I Have Done Small Things. I have done small things today, have threaded the needle's eye with the current favorite seafoam spool, have closed up the tear where the down spilled out of my daughter's winter coat, have dragged the heavy bags back to the feeders, lofting them on my shoulder, and waited for the pouring sound to climb its rasping octave and the seed to reach the brim. Have taken a moment midday to remind myself of my mother's legs pedaling her bike to the post office on the back roads. Have poured water on the roots of the olive tree and the Meyer lemon tree who can't articulate their needs, have whispered, beautiful boy, to my old and sleeping dog, his damp nose in a slice of sunlight, have swept sweaty curls off temples no bigger than a rose petal with a particular kindness, have watched the designated ant bring the body of the dead in its arms all the way along the baseboard, had given the onions their time to weep in the butter, the rice its space to toast, have folded the last of the day into neat and quiet piles of dish towels, of matched and nestled socks. So those are a few poems from my chapbook that's forthcoming. I'm going to end with a newer piece. I lost a really close friend last summer and have been sort of reeling through that grief for the past 10 months or so, and writing through it has helped me immensely. So this is a poem that I wrote in honor of the life and love of my friend Christelle. We did things differently for months after your death. Most of us could still talk to you at times, when the sky was clear of its skittering clouds, when the breeze careened from the south over the sound. In dreams, you did nothing new, but we couldn't get enough of you. Taking the big chair with the good pillow, slipping an elastic off the tail of the rope of your braid. Your face was like it had been before the wake. Your teeth, you showed us. You sometimes muttered some long and breathy French syllable, an offering that said even you still remembered despair, its trickiness, the way you can never really put the whole of it down for long enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Lovely. Next, we have Rebecca Watkins. She holds an MFA in poetry and an MS.Ed from the City University of New York. Her work has appeared in the Palisades Review, Amethyst Review, and Roanoke Review, among other literary journals. Her creative nonfiction has been shortlisted for the Malahat Review's Open Season Awards. She is the author of Field Guide to Forgiveness and Sometimes in These Places. Let's welcome Rebecca.
Thank you so much for having us, Melissa, Juan. Thanks for putting this together. I was so moved by the poems I've heard so far. So I'll be reading from my chapbook, which is my most recent book, and my full length, which is older, and then two new ones. And this first one is from Field Guide to Forgiveness, which is the chapbook. And it is about my maternal lineage, and it's called Birthright. The women I came from crawled under a sky that would never be theirs, stealing crumbs of light, yearning for more. They told me not to fling the window open, searching the night skies for missing pieces of myself. They told me a woman eats her sins, swallows the pain of others. My mother buried weapons under her tongue to work in a man's world. My grandmother, an artist, had 11 children, lost 5 more, picked up her paintbrush again right before she died. My great-grandmother, whose hair reached the floor, cut it all off to defy the husband who loved it. They began the story I will finish. Their palms have pounded out the only revolution my blood has ever known. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why is it that when a woman lights herself on fire, it is mistaken for sacrifice or love rather than the truth she was born to tell? You know, you never know which ones are going to get you. So, oh my goodness, did not expect that. Usually I save it for the end. Okay. All right, the next one is I wrote it about a time where there was a lot of loss happening around me, and it's about how loss can really bring you to that point of understanding what's important in your life. And it's called Possibly Love. I forget to grind my teeth as I sleep. Instead, I dream that I live underwater in a room wallpapered with green waves. My blood pumps with the rhythm of the tides. At school, the student who threatened to jump now wears a parachute, his arm tattooed in his mother tongue. A word he swears means night or maybe anger or possibly love. Last month brought cyclones. Those who we thought were too young to die are gone. I dream sand pours into my ears, but my mouth remains empty. I have no language left for this. When I speak to my father, his voice travels through the phone, as if through hallways of loss. I hear the wind buffeting gravestones in a field in Indiana, whistling through valleys in Kentucky. I imagine him and my mother on the porch of their little house. He sips his coffee as he reads the letter I have yet to write, where I tell him about how time shredded my convictions, about the years that were cyclones, upending pieces of my life, rearranging them until I named that rubble holy, because I was yanked back to truth there. And the next one I'm actually going to read from my first book, full length. And I think the next 2 poems will be set in the desert. I lived in New Mexico before I moved to New York. So, but they're about very different times in my life. And the first one tells its own story. I don't think I need to preface it, but it's called Searching. I wanted to believe I was heard that night. I stopped driving and I leaned against the hood of my car on Route 491 South between Durango and Tohatchi. I conversed with the stars as if those swirling gases light years away, could convince me my heart was more than a galloping horse caught against my sternum, moving me from one life to the next. I had escaped from the desert for a month and hid at an ashram in the Rockies, a place that it felt like it might snow in July. There, a guru pressed her thumb into my chest, telling me to live from my center, keep my intentions pure. Every day I chanted Om Gam Ganapate Namaha until the words worked their way into my tissues and I heard them in my sleep. But I knew down in Roswell, they still believed in aliens more than deities. And the military swallowed secrets with their morning coffee. And in the labs in Los Alamos, scientists blessed their bombs like babies. So as I drove back, I knew nothing more than when I came. The moisture of the mountains clung to my skin for one more day. Then the desert sun roared against my forehead, drying me out, pressing me to the earth, as if trying to break my body and reach inside. And the next one is also set in the desert, and it's the poem which I named the chapbook after, Field Guide to Forgiveness. Now let me find it. Here it is. I lock my journals in my desk in case I die out there. I don't want anyone to know that sometimes I wish I had a daughter. Someone to see the ways I've sacrificed and someone to tell me how I failed. I walk naked into the desert until my body becomes sand, my hair a halo of crows. I know which part to sever first. Was it always going to be that I was the last I'd forgive? I set up camp in the crumbling landscape. There is no God here, just me, the wind, the rattlesnakes. I'll see this through. I'll take that bitter meat from my chest, fling it into the desert. I'll feed the wolves this one last time. Okay, and the next one is, I'm a teacher, so a teacher's favorite topic, snow day. Okay. I'm the starving deer sniffing for a hidden bud, a dry twig, fearful I won't have enough. I listen as blades clear roads so people can drive to high rises and clouds. But here, the soft fall of snow surrounds me. I want to carve out a space where time doesn't move. Come tomorrow, I'll go teach teens who, like hermits, hide with hoods up, music in their ears. They haven't yet met themselves beyond their muscle and bone. But I don't want to be the one to truncate their freedom and deny them the ache. Instead, I'll tell them the truth, that I am a starving woman who'd rather sit with them and steal fire from the gods to see the spark.
Nice.
And here's my last one. This was just published in, this is in a new manuscript, which I'm sending out, and it was published in Head in the Whole Review a few months ago.
Nice.
Thank you. It's called Algorithms. And I got it from algorithms, social media, and then I just kind of changed it. Okay. A theory. You deserve to be numb, but this is not your mother's menopause, nor your grandfather's politician. Despite the back fat, you must fight fascism amid your hot flashes. Another theory. Examine the spring for its trauma response. Venus disappears, a 40-day retrograde. Another winter gaslights us into believing we are sad creatures who need more gray loungewear. Another leader gaslights us into believing complacency buys salvation. Motto for the year, pick one. A, it's easy to quell a rebellion of the weary. B, hashtag goals. Scrolling equals despair. Shopping equals numbness. C, our national news is bootlegged from Canada. D, at 2, countrymen, you have cleaved my heart in half. Self-care for the end of the world. Maria Kondo your mind. Buy the perfect t-shirt. Listen to the music that once moved you. Remember, you are alive. A survivor of the last millennium. The lines on your face a currency. Your life is a bestseller, a blockbuster, a poem, a revelation. You are a drop of water. Now fall into the ocean and sing.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rebecca. Her books are available to the side. Please check those out after. We have one final reader this afternoon. Felicia Villanueva is a Belizean American cultural worker and performance poet, serving as the second poet laureate of Westchester County. An author and educator, her work centers on identity, healing, womanhood, and survival, grounded in lineage, ritual, and community care. She is the founder of Literary Lituation and co-founder of the Yonkers Writing Group. Known for immersive poetry performances with musicians, her work lives in the breath and the body. To encounter her work is not simply to listen, but to witness. Let's welcome Felicia.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Did I mess up
You did nothing of the sort. I got you right in the middle.
I'm writing a poetic play and the flyer will be done soon. It'll be 3 days, at the end of June. And so, oh, you guys are so beautiful. So, hopefully, if you guys follow me or, my friends will share the flyer. But this is a poem coming from the play, and I need to memorize it. I haven't memorized a lot of stuff in a long time. But here we go. Come roll with an untamed soul. Come roll with an untamed soul. Hey, come roll with an untamed soul. Embrace my untamedness, my wildness. My freedom rings and the sounds get caught in my curls. So they bounce. So they frame freckles and eyes like sunflowers on fire. Embrace my untamedness, my wildness. My freedom rings and the sounds get caught in my curls. So they bounce. I told you I've been trying to memorize it, right? The secrets, the treasures and secrets and sugar I hide in my cheeks. I keep this homebody watered and fresh like mint leaves. My laugh loud like the sunrise. And my freedom rings the Rasta lion that lives in my chest. My heart roars with the bars of Baymen and West Africans sending blue and purple bloodwood downriver, and the sounds get caught in my curls, so they bouncy. Call me chameleon girl. How I always resemble somebody's cousin. I come from under the shade of the mahogany. I carry the earth under my fingernails. I was built strong, like Mayan ruins, mathematical and astronomical systems, like mud and water. I come from a long line of another kind of intellect. I'm not a poet by accident. My words be black, sunburned back, sun-kissed skin. My words make placentia trees whine, hurricanes speed back on a never know I know for dance contact. or that I hide tornadoes in my hips. Each side striving to hit the sky like no boats. Feet jump like hot oil. Voices of wooden drums move me. And I dance punta for the monster in the blue hole. Come roll with an untamed soul. Come roll with an untamed soul. Hey! Come roll with an untamed soul. All right. Thank you guys. Like a lot. I wrote a list, and I wanna be good. I wanna work for my list. I have 3 more poems. Okay. Number 2. Hope is a deep current. So this is one of my most memorable poems. One of them. There's been so many. Being the laureate, which is so cool. And then I'm like, okay, I'll be done soon. So, be amazing. Let everybody know the application is about 2027. Hope for us is a deep current. This was for Ken Jenkins, the first Black county executive of Westchester County. And I thought it was so interesting because I'm the first woman of color in this position. This is legacy, covered by ancestral wind, a generational ebb and flow, continuously rising, like rain returning to the sky. A poet at a podium, books, our bands, histories, blurs, and freedom of speech, a light switch flickers under hands that try to shut it off. The babies are watching. The babies are watching. We need someone that will help us believe. Serve steady with trust to reflect the sun like the Hudson, a river that never forgets. The villages and voices that carried us here. So we gather like a tide. Pull. So we gather like a tide. Pulled by something greater. Because hope for us is a deep current. It moves with persistence, shaped by natural forces. It is inevitable, a gift, a force that carves through barriers, connects past to present, to move like the Hudson, to hold both storm and stillness, is to know the weight of ice, the promise of tide returning, to hold both resistance and renewal, to carry what came before and what could not hold itself and still push forward. Every step forward, a chance to write the truth. We do not need just metaphors. We need movement. We need voices to rise beyond the podium, to shape the world like water, to break silence the way the Hudson breaks against the shore. This is legacy, covered by ancestral wind. A generational ebb and flow continuously rising, rising like rain returning to the sky. Hope for us is a deep current leadership that sounds like care and feels like courage. Thank you. So, the energy in the room felt very brave, and there's this poem that um I've been wanting to. How y'all feeling? Thumbs up? Good?
Yeah.
All right. Only got two more. And so I haven't read this poem in a long time because I was in grad school and my professor made a few comments. And I was like, all right, in the drawer, under the things, because sometimes we gotta let poems breathe, you know? Doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that it's requiring something of me. I can't right now. But I want to read it to you guys. And I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what this is. Okay. But it says it's a glosa. So I don't know. Me no know. Creole glosa after James S. Martinez. They kick up such a squabble and they make such lot of noise. I never hear such instrumental fuss. The instruments ain't many as in the regular band. And to look at them, you never would suspect. Dear Mr. Martinez, I just they wonder about the resemblance to the first time you may catch one single off-key note, embracing the unpredictable, greeting dissonance in a harmony. That's true. No notes can ever be wrong. Me think say you love the sound of jazz and the many conversations, the strings and vibrations they have when they fall and rise. Life, life, no sound like jazz. If life is jazz, if jazz are life, I want reimagine us one jazz poem written out upon the palm of your right hand, one prayer between you and the Most High. They kick up such a squabble and they make such lot of noise. My granny said that the first time, my granny said the first time, I'm a going to a jazz club. Your grandfather may take me over by 125th Street. And from then, me know, say me love the saxophone. And no matter who the saxman is, the saxman make me tremble. He gave me what feeling deep within. Oh, how I scream when the sax finally start to blow him sound. Me blood a rush. The saxophone never have a plan. Telling the truth without precision. Said no error too big to get over. This the how I reimagine us. I never hear such instrumental fuss. When I read the you poem out loud in a garden, that there somewhere in a Yonkers, one jazz and poetry choir, one join me. The poem will catch up in the vocalist cry, found in the precision man vibes, and the sweat that it drip down the bass man face. I wish to summon you from under Belizean sand to meet audience. Six poets, hands them with one mic and one mic stand. and poems that pan a music stand. The instruments ain't many as in the regular band. I want you to please share with me the story about the first time you may read the you poetry out loud. The many conversations, the strings and vibrations they have when they fall and rise a Creole sound, one gangsta music, cruffy, unruly, hand clamping, foot stomping, gyrating, creative pain, outgoing. I want more how much it resembles the first time you me hear jazz. Me think say you and I love the sounds Creole make. Jazz, just like Creole, one decision, like flipping over every table in this room, that a constant disrespect, and to look at them you would never suspect. Thank you. Thank you so. Mhm. Okay, so this poem is called In the Best Interest of My Ancestors. I live between motherhood and messenger, a holy assignment, a borrowed miracle performing on a tightrope between cost and conflict. My one hand steadying your crown, my other hand reaching for a pen to write you a new world. A place where daughters grow wild, unashamed, and unbroken by the will of their wildest dreams. I live between what I've healed and what still haunts me. Between the star card and the double one, in the middle of air and earth, between I'm okay and I will never be the same. I mother between breath and fire, the sweetness of your laugh, and the women in our bloodline who found it hard to smile, whose silence swallowed them whole. Daughter, 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 daughter. In the best interest of our ancestors, when you feel the weight of my in between, practice on me. I give you all the tools I own when I say most people are good. Most food is bad. Safety always comes first because you always come first. So make sure you say how the F you feel for real. Say, I don't like it. Say, I don't like that. Say, I need more of. Say no more. And when you need to say yes less and no yes more and no less, and if you have to say it over and 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 because people don't listen. You make them listen. Check on your joy like you cross the street. Check on your heart. Your right to change your mind at any time. At any time. Your right to change your mind at any time. 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 You have the right to change your mind.
Thank you, Felicia. Always wonderful. We are going to just take a moment to set up for the Q&A. If you need chair cushions or an extra drink or something to nibble on, feel free to get that now. And then think of some things you'd like to ask our poets, right? How about